How do you fix a country's economy when the system itself is basically designed to be broken? Well, that is the massive question at the heart of a pretty stunning new report from the IMF on Pakistan. And this wasn't just some friendly suggestion, it was a mandatory condition for a multi-billion-dollar loan. And it lays bare the deep, deep-seated corruption that's really crippling the nation.
Just let this quote sink in for a second. It's from a Pakistani politician, and it perfectly captures the crisis. This isn't just about a few bad actors anymore. It's about a whole culture where corruption has become so normal that, not participating is seen as being foolish. This is the mindset that this new IMF report is really up against. So you might be wondering, why is the IMF, a global financial institution, even publishing a report on Pakistan's internal governance? Well, it's because this crisis, it's about way more than just stolen money. It's fundamentally about a loss of economic sovereignty. But what does economic sovereignty actually mean for regular people? Well, it means that the big decisions affecting your daily life, like the price you pay for gas or the money that's available for schools and hospitals, those decisions aren't being made solely by Pakistan anymore. They're now heavily influenced and in many cases dictated by the IMF. The country has, in a very real sense, lost control over its own financial destiny. And that brings us to the report itself. It's called the Governance and Corruption Diagnostic Assessment. And look, this wasn't just a suggestion, it was a non-negotiable condition for the latest loan. The IMF basically said, if you want our money, you first have to publicly show everyone just how broken the system is, so we know our funds won't just disappear into that same black hole.
So what did this report actually find? Well, it paints a really devastating picture of institutional failure. And we're not just talking about a few leaky pipes here. The entire plumbing of the state is broken.
Let's start with a number that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. 5 trillion Pakistani rupees. This is the amount the National Accountability Bureau, or NAB, claims to have recovered from corruption cases in just a 2-year period. It is a staggering figure.
But here's the kicker. As massive as that number is, the report suggests it's only a tiny fraction of the real problem. The source estimates this is probably only 10 to 20% of the total amount that's actually being lost to corruption. The rest? It just never gets caught or recovered.
So why is so little recovered? Well, because the supposed watchdogs are completely broken. The NAB is often used as a political tool, and the data shows that a tiny fraction of complaints, just 2%, ever even get verified. Meanwhile, the Auditor General's office is pumping out thousands of reports detailing financial misconduct, but these bombshells, they just end up gathering dust on a shelf. And this perfectly captures the absurdity of the whole accountability process. Imagine the Auditor General writes a damning report on corruption within the government. Well, that report has to first get a stamp of approval from the very offices it might be investigating, the prime ministers and the presidents, before Parliament can even see it. It's a system that is, fundamentally designed to fail. Okay, so these institutional failures, they aren't just abstract ideas. They have devastating real-world consequences that impact everything, from national pride to your ability to find a job or even get justice in a courtroom. Just look at this. In 1990, Pakistan's exports made up 16% of its entire economy. Today, after more than 3 decades of so-called progress, that share has plummeted to just 9%. The country isn't just standing still, it's actually going backwards on the world stage. So where is all the money going? Well, a 2021 report broke it down, and it's pretty eye-opening. A whopping $17 billion a year goes to what are called elite privileges. Think subsidies and tax exemptions for the rich and powerful. Then you add in the massive losses from cartels, like the sugar industry, and billions more just wasted on development projects that get started but are never, ever finished.
They say a budget reveals a government's true priorities. Well, in Pakistan, less than 1% of the entire national economy is spent on public health. But at the same exact time, nearly 5 times that amount goes to tax exemptions that overwhelmingly benefit the country's elite. The priorities? They couldn't be clearer.
And what does all this mean for ordinary people? An official unemployment rate of 7.1%, which is the highest it's been in over 2 decades. And that number, it represents millions of educated, talented young people who have degrees but absolutely no prospects for the future.
And it's not just the economy. The justice system, which is ranked as one of the 3 most corrupt sectors in the country, is completely gridlocked. We're talking over 1.8 million cases just sitting there in lower courts. That means a simple property dispute filed by your grandparent could still be waiting for a verdict when their grandkids are old. Generations.
Now, after laying out this incredibly grim diagnosis, the IMF didn't just throw its hands up and walk away. It actually provided a detailed prescription for reform, a 15-point plan designed to completely overhaul the machinery of the state.
Here are some of the big ones. They're focused on transparency, like creating public databases for everyone to see, digitizing the economy to stop fraud in things like land records, simplifying the tax code to make it fair, and crucially, making the Auditor General truly independent and forcing all public officials to declare their assets for the world to see.
And there has been some movement. Pakistan did agree to one of the IMF's conditions and passed a new rule requiring civil servants to publicly share what they own. Sounds like a big win for transparency, right? But there is a massive catch. 2 of the most powerful institutions in the entire country, the judiciary and the military, are exempt from this rule. So while bureaucrats have to open their books, judges and generals do not. This one loophole pretty much guts the entire purpose of the reform. But the analysis in the source material argues that even these reforms, they miss the most important point. It is so easy to just blame whatever politician is currently in power, but that's like missing the forest for the trees. The argument is this: all the political drama you see, it's basically a puppet show. Politicians come and go, but the real lasting power lies with the permanent, unelected state bureaucracy. This is the overdeveloped state that was inherited from the colonial era, designed for extraction, not for public service, and it's been the one constant since the country's founding. And this whole system sustains itself on what the source calls the 3 Ps: perks, plots, and privileges. This is the lifeblood of the elite: the tax breaks, the cheap land, the special treatment, all of it funded by the public but enjoyed by a tiny few. It creates an economy where the powerful get rich, not by creating value, but by extracting it from the state. And that brings us to the most crucial point of all. True reform isn't about swapping one political party for another. It's about dismantling a system that has been hardwired for nearly 80 years to benefit insiders. Because after all, you can't fix a cracked foundation by just repainting the walls. So the IMF report gives us a crystal clear diagnosis and a very detailed prescription. But it leaves us with the most difficult question of all. When the very people who are in charge of making the reforms are the biggest beneficiaries of the broken system, how can real change ever truly happen? What does it actually take to break a cycle like that?